Hey class, so this video is going to talk to you about milestone 2, the research question, hypothesis, and annotated bibliography. This is for module 4, and I'm going to go over the assignment. As always, I've got my rubric printed out that I'm going to follow along for milestone 2, and we'll go through this to make sure you understand what you're submitting and how to do it correctly. Let's start at the beginning, the very front of the rubric. I'm just going to go through, and feel free, I hope yours is printed out and you are following along with me. So I'll give you the highlights and what things mean for this and how it's going to be graded. So it says here, for what you're going to do is you're going to have a full APA citation, an abstract, and an annotation. Now you're going to do this for a minimum of 8 sources. You should make note of that, minimum of 8. I will be counting. I will be looking at the minimum of 8. The first thing that you need to know is the first page of the rubric does an excellent job of providing an example, and it says bolded, example of annotation. And the first line is a full APA cited source. Notice how it's done. If yours is not done this way, you're going to get marked on it by the rubric, and we'll see that in a second. But this is the correct way to cite a source in APA. You have your authors, your date, the title, the journal name, page numbers, and you're going to do this at a minimum of 8 times. Okay? So the first thing is, let's talk structure of this paper. It's allowable to have this example that I'm about to give you 8 times on your paper. Put the APA citation, then the abstract, and then the annotation. And that's one source. Do it again for the second one. Put the citation, put the abstract, put the annotation. Rinse and repeat. Do it at a minimum of 8 times, and you're going to start to meet the requirements of this assignment. A minimum is 8. However, this is for your study that's going to be carrying over into 520. You may need to do more if your study needs it. So if you're on a roll, you can include more. This is going to be to help you out later in our class and in 520. So, why not shoot for a little more than 8? And get what you need to get the paper done. Trust me, I couldn't write a paper using 2 sources. Well, I could, but it wouldn't get published. And if you notice, when you're looking at all these articles you're looking at, they have a lot of sources. And the reason for that is I'm like always drilling this into your feedback on your work. Sources support claims. They provide factual information through empirical research that's been conducted, and they support claims, and they turn opinions into supportive facts. And it's just one of the most important things in psychological research. So I'm not telling you to go out and do 20, 30 sources. You have a minimum of 8. You will make the grade with that. I'm just saying, think bigger than this and think, what do I need to make my points clear? If you're doing a study and you're saying music listening affects test performance, and you only give me 2 sources for an actual paper, I'm going to need more than that, because you won't be able to write much just using 2 sources to support your claims. You're going to run out of ideas. So take that for what it's worth, and let's get back into how to write your annotated bibliography. So, number 1, right off the bat, before you start doing your 8 sources, tell me your research question. This is your official research question for your study that will be done in 520. And I have another video that I'll talk about that so make sure to watch that. So number 1, put your research question in. I'm going to walk through this with an example. I'm going to make a study up, And what my study is going to be is, I think students who watch informative educational videos for their class do better in class than those who don't. Very fitting, isn't it? So my study is going to have a group that does not watch videos and a group that does watch videos for their class, and I'm going to look at their grades at the end of their semester. My hypothesis is the students who watch the videos are going to have better grades than the students who did not watch the videos. Very simple, very effective, and wouldn't we love to find this out? So, the first thing I'm going to do if I'm writing this paper is I'm going to tell you my research question. Does watching educational videos improve grade performance in an online classroom? The hypothesis, I'm going to state it in this paper. I'm going to say my hypothesis is students who watch online educational videos for their class do better than those who don't. That's the first part. Next, I stated the question and the hypothesis. Now the second half of this paper. This is the 8 times, the rinse and repeat. I am now going to provide 8 sources that I've looked up. You can use Google Scholar, SNHU's Shapiro Libraries Psych Resource Guide. But I'm going to find a minimum of 8 sources that are going to help me build my claims and my paper. So I'm going to start Googling words, online education, assisted learning, keywords that I think are going to help lead me there. And over time, let's say I found 8 articles, and I have them ready. I downloaded the PDFs, or I got the abstract. So what I'm going to do, and I'm only going to give this example once because you're going to do it for 8 times, but do this 8 times. So I'm going to, let's recap. I have my research question already written, my hypothesis already stated. Now I'm going to give the teacher, me, 8 sources. So I'm going to write out in full APA format, which you need to do. Don't copy a link and paste it in. That's going to be a marked grade. I'm going to look for official APA citing, formatting. But I'm going to put my APA formatted citation. I'm going to copy and paste the abstract. Yes, you are more than welcome to put the original abstract in, but the last piece is where you come in writing original work. And I'm turning the page now, and I'm going to go through this rubric using my example research of students watching videos and getting better grades. And I'm going to go through these, and you can follow along with me. So, number 1, critical elements. And as always, I read from the exemplary. Research question creates a testable research question based on previous research related to the chosen topic and describes its relevancy to the field of psychology. So I'm going to state my research question, and I'm going to write a little bit about how it's relevant to the field, education, psychology, find a way to write about it. Hypothesis creates a testable hypothesis based on the research question and research around the topic. Well, my hypothesis was watching videos will increase grade performance versus those who don't for an online course. That's my testable hypothesis. And I'm going to move into the piece here that involves the sources. So, third one, article selection and abstract. Did I put at least 8 articles? And were they related to my research question and hypothesis? So I'm going to read these, and if you have articles that don't relate to your research question or hypothesis, they're not going to count. So make sure you're finding research that is relevant to what you want to do for your project in 510 and 520. So if you are looking at hypnosis, because I know a lot of you are, and you're wanting to see if it's a viable way to cure or improve health, I would hope to see 8 articles that relate to areas of hypnosis and health. Okay. Next piece, annotations, evaluation of the article. Evaluates article and describes, this tells you what you're writing about in this last piece, because let's recap quickly. You wrote your research question, you wrote your hypothesis, you have your APA cited source, You have your copy and pasted abstract. Now you're writing the last piece, and you're going to describe how each relates to the research question and hypothesis. So did you evaluate the article doing this 8 times? It's a paragraph, okay? Did you tell me how it relates to your research? I just want to know how the article you chose relates to your research, and you're going to do that for every article. Going on. Comparison to other sources analyzes how the articles contradict or complement other sources used in the bibliography and provides concrete examples. That is just comparing your articles to one another. So staying with my example, watching a video to get better grades online courses, let's say source number 1 did a study that shows online courses that are all video delivered and students did well. That's relating to my topic. The second one says online courses and the use of cell phones to aid in technology. Still related. We're not going to find the exact study because we're doing original research, right? So I'm finding things that are around my research. In this piece of the rubric, it says comparison to other sources. I'm going to still do this in every single source. I'm going to compare the source to another in my 8. So I'm going to say, like, if I'm in source number 1, and again, I've got my APA cited source, I've got the copy and pasted abstract, and in this last paragraph that I'm talking about that I'm in, I'm going to say this article is completely opposite of so-and-so's article, and I'm going to cite it, Smith and Wesson's, can't think of anything else, 2012 article that says that cell phone use is counterproductive to online education. I don't know, I'm making it up. But you're going to just compare it to your other sources that you found. Limitations. Addresses limitations of the articles and explains why the limitations matter. Well, what if in my first article that had an entirely video delivered online course and the students did well? I don't know how the students did though if they had a group that did not get full online video delivery. And I would address that limitation and say, a limitation of this article is that I can't tell whether or not students got tested without video delivery. You're going to have a limitation for every single source in this paragraph. And lastly, the articulation of response. That's an overall wrap-up of your paper. Was it done well? No errors? Organized? Easy to read format. That's a huge thing right there. Last piece of the rubric. Was it easy to read? Clarity, consistency, understandable, right? So that's a wrap-up of what to do for your annotated bibliography. And I'm going to wrap up once more just to build a mental frame for you on how to work this. So you're submitting your document. The first piece of your document is your research question. The next piece of your document is the hypothesis. Then you're going to have a minimum of 8 of the following. A full APA citation, the copy and pasted abstract, and a paragraph containing what we went over in the rubric. That final paragraph, make note of this, that final paragraph are the pieces of the rubric that say article annotation, evaluation of the article, annotation, comparison to other sources, annotation, limitations. Those are all going to be in that final paragraph, and you will write that for every article. If you are missing that from your articles, it will affect your grade. I hope this was informative and it helps you understand how to write and go about approaching an annotated bibliography, what I'm looking for, and how this can help you succeed in class. Thanks for watching, and I'm off to make one more video for you. Bye-bye.